A feared trade war between the U.S. and Colombia has been averted for now. The White House says it's holding off from imposing a series of tariffs and other measures against Colombia after the country agreed late last night to once again accept U.S. flights carrying deported migrants.
Welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. People may ask, Mr. Healthy Discussion, you've been missing in action lately. Well, let me give you guys the update. I got banned by from YouTube the other day, but on Monday, Inauguration Day. So I'm showing support because I've been, I'm all for Trump XYZ, right? Family hates me for that, but oh well, who cares? People don't like me for that, but they look at me as a god now, as if, oh, maybe you are correct. So they banned me for TikTok for YouTube for recording the inauguration and giving my reaction to the inauguration. I didn't get the memo, so I'm like, oh, what was it? Was it the music? So I try to do it again because I'm like, okay, let me just silence it and then try to play it. Come to find out it was the music, and everybody else, they pulled their channel down as well, except I guess I ignored the fair warning. So YouTube, my bad. Look, it won't happen again. It won't happen again, YouTube. Now I know. But in the meantime, nothing can't stop me. So at the end of the day, I was working on my crypto channel. I'm gonna leave that link down below. Go check out Crypto Dough when you get a chance. So it feels good to be back. What have I missed? Leave your comments down below in the chat. What happened in the week? What have I missed? They say Gustavo Petro, Trump sending the illegal immigrants back. And he don't land the plane here. What? Trump said, you know what? You think we playing, huh? We're going to make you an example. Tariff attack. 25% tariff attack. I ain't mad at Trump for that, but let's get into the story. Let's deep dive into it. We're going to talk about Trump and his tariffs. We're going to talk about DeepSeek. And we also going to talk about Nvidia. We're also going to talk about Nvidia because I think that it's a buy, but we're gonna talk about Nvidia. They trying to downplay Nvidia. DeepSeek, you're creeping up on Nvidia now, ain't you? I know you're creeping up, DeepSeek. But on that note, before we get into the show, the only thing I ask for you is to comment, like, and share this video. Look, I'm trying to get to 10,000 subs, right? So you can help me get to 10,000 subs by subscribing to the channel, hit that like button, hit that bell notification so I can swim through the algorithm and be right there on your phone or your network, and I can pop up. Allow me to pop up. I know this in this world, if you don't ask for things, you don't get it. If you don't put in the work, you don't get it. So now, hell, I'm asking the community, help me get there. Together we can go further than Wells Fargo. Let's go. Hit the AirTag EMF protector link. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. Hit the AirTag EMF protector link. Protect your loved ones if you really love them against this harmful radiation. This is electric magnetic frequency negative radiation. You need to protect them because we always on the phone. We always on the computers, right? We always around something digital. In fact, life is about to go super digital as we speak. That was enough ranting. Let's get to the show.
Earlier Sunday, President...
Hold on. I miss y'all. Let's get back to the show, though. I miss y'all. That's all I'm saying. I had to talk for about 2 minutes because I ain't talked to my audience in a while. Let's get it.
President Trump threatened to impose 25% tariffs on goods from the country after it refused to accept those flights. Meantime, federal agencies dramatically ramped up immigration operations this weekend with nearly 1,000 arrests nationwide on Sunday. On Face the Nation...
Time out. Word on the street is that they giving y'all $7,000 to turn them an illegal migrant. America's a wicked place because y'all done gave these migrants. I say, look, y'all can come on in. Watch the trap. Oh my God. Y'all can come on in. We're going to have a president to clear y'all out. We're going to give y'all an egregious amount of money and all of that. You remember they was getting everything on the card and XYZ, and they was getting food stamps and all the government assistance and all this other little stuff, right? They got it good for about 6 months to a year, right? Now they say, come on, let's get that. So now they're going to use the U.S. citizen to say, hey, I really want this money. I want y'all money back, right? Y'all better go tell on those people telling that they live in 18 people in one apartment. Somebody got to be illegal in there. Y'all get $7,000 for each. So people like, damn, I know 5 people already. That's a cool 40 piece. Hey, you got to laugh about these things. What goes around comes around, I guess. My God.
Vice President Vance defended the Trump administration policies, allowing ICE agents to raid houses of worship and schools.
I support us doing law enforcement against violent criminals, whether they're illegal immigrants or anybody else, in a way that keeps us safe.
And Trump fired more than a dozen inspectors general late Friday night, including.
That's good. Look at how many people he fired. People think that that's a bad thing. When Elon came into his power structure and he owned Twitter and he bought Twitter, he fired half of the staff. People are like, why is he so aggressive with the firing? Because if you have a vision and these people don't want to get on board, fire. I'm with that. Fire them. Set fire to them if you got to. It's like, nah, we're not going to promote violence. We're not going to promote violence. But fire them. Use that pen. That pen is very powerful. Fire them. All these government workers, y'all need to go back to work anyway. Y'all not doing nothing. Only thing y'all doing is sitting back, collecting a check. Go to work. People call y'all for assistance, or people call y'all for this, or government grants and this, that. Y'all giving us a hard time. Go back to work. Y'all getting lazy. You can do more in the office than you can do in the house. There's so much distractions in the house. Y'all need to go to work and put yourself in the working environment. That's what they call it, a working environment, because it's less distraction. It's more productive. So I'm all for going back to work. America has become so lazy. I don't know why, but I'm not. Don't consider me an American if you're lazy. I'm a foreigner. I come to work. Either work on your entrepreneurship. Hell, have a job, work on your entrepreneurship at the same time. I did the math the other day. It's the 162 hours in a week, right? If you only, some people only get about 8-9 hours in that whole week of sleep. I'm knocking on Elon's door right there. So what does that tell you? These people are overworking you. 40 to 50 hour work week, that's nothing. That is nothing. I did the math. It's 162. So if that's the case, something ain't right. I need 80, 90, almost 100 hours. So between YouTube, between me going to work, between my entrepreneurship, between my sales job and everything else, I'm always working. You can't stop me. So I'm glad that he fired these people. Clean house. This is Operation Clean House.
Being some he appointed during his first term. Inspectors general are independent employees who are tasked with identifying fraud, waste, and abuse in the federal government.
Get rid of them.
And take a look at this. Saturday, the president made a surprise appearance at a Las Vegas casino. This after a scheduled address where he promoted his plan to end taxes on tips.
So if you're a restaurant worker, a server, a valet, a bellhop, a bartender, or one of my caddies, I go through caddies like candy. If I play badly, I always blame my caddy. Or any other worker who relies on tipped income, your tips will be 100% yours.
This morning, we have team coverage on all of this.
What do you guys think about that? I think that's excellent. That's one thing I can say about Trump. He's no play. He's not playing. Can somebody put no play in the chat? He is no play. He's not playing with you. This man came in before he even became president. He was busting moves. As if he knew, shit, I'm going to be president. I don't know what they talking about. They don't see it yet. I put in the work. I did this. I did that. Let them who have eyes see clearly. They don't know what's going on. Before he became president, he started making deals. I call him Mr. Deal, the art of the deal. Y'all got to study that way of strategic war and advantages. You don't have to go to war every time to win the situation, right? You can literally make a deal. A lot of people don't know that part. They Mr. Aggressor. Let's go to war. Let's fight. Let's fight. Okay, casualties on both sides. Then what? You know, we can compromise. It's a word called compromise, right? You can get a little bit what you want. I can get a little bit what I want, and we call it a day. And we go about the way. That's why I respect Trump, because he shows you the art of the deal. It shows you that everything, you don't need to be escalated. And if so, he might pump fake. Look, we might drop the bomb on you, Colombia, for this tariff bomb on you, Colombia, for not allowing us to drop those illegal migrants. Illegal. He didn't say legal. And that's another thing, an argument that people have. Well, he's going to deport all the migrants. No. It's key words. You guys want to throw so much salt that right now is sugar. It's so sweet. It's key words. He said he wanted to deport all the illegal migrants. I'm for that. Because think about the people like this, right? Think about a just system. Think about the people that actually did and I'm a migrant myself, but I came here legally. I'm for the legal part. Think about the people that came here illegally and the people that decided to fill out their paperwork, doing their visa, doing this, doing that, right? They got to wait in line 6 months to a year to 2 years, depending, right? And then people come in here without going through the process. How would you feel? You still stuck in line and somebody else is busting in front of you in the line and they keep on getting passed through. Wouldn't that corrupt your mind to say, hey, I might just decide to do something illegal in order to get there, because it seemed like they was getting the benefits. What a corrupt world, right? So that's the same point of view that I have for this. Get all of the illegal ones out of here, because we don't know who came in when the border was open. You got people. America have done so many things to different people around the world, right? You don't think they have vengeance? So us leaving that border open, you don't know how many people came in with illegal intent. Their intention is illegal. Their intention is terrorist. Their intention is this. Their intention is that. America is not what it seems. They kill people too. Trump said that out of his mouth himself. We're killers too. So all I'm saying is that that's what war is. But let's continue. Leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think about the Colombians and the illegal migrants and Mr. Guzman telling them, Mr. Pedro, Gustavo telling them, hey, don't land that plane here. What? Man, I would have threw them people outside of that plane in parachutes and hopefully they land safely. See y'all. I would have dropped them off airborne. Hell, I would have airdropped them to y'all. I would have airdropped them. Trump doing the right thing.
For you with Aaron Navarro and Natalie Brand following the Trump administration for us. Aaron, let's begin with you, our CBS News reporter in our DC bureau. And let's start with Colombia. Flights like this happen all the time. So why did the nation refuse to accept them? And how did Trump respond?
Ariel, good to be with you. What we saw was Colombia President Gustavo Petro criticized that the migrants were coming in via military planes. He criticized the conditions and said that those migrants were not being treated with dignity and respect. And he said he was open to those on non-military flights, said he would offer his presidential plane. But as we saw last night, he eventually agreed and said that he would, quote, guarantee dignified conditions for those on board. Now, military planes being used to transport these migrants is relatively new, in part because Trump's administration is increasing the role of the Defense Department when it comes to immigration and his plans for mass deportation.
Now, we also saw over the weekend a major crackdown by immigration authorities. Where specifically did we see that and what happened?
Yeah, just yesterday, we saw about 1,000 arrests by ICE. And just for context, in 2024, under the last year of the Biden administration, there was a daily average of about 312 arrests. So definitely an increase there. They targeted those with warrants. We also saw the DEA, ATF, and FBI assist as the Trump administration is looking to get more to help Border Patrol and ICE agents. And we saw it happen in Chicago, Denver, Houston, Miami, and San Antonio, right in that border state of Texas.
And we've also learned, Aaron, that the Trump administration is working on an immigration deal with El Salvador. What can you tell us about that development?
Yeah, they are developing an asylum agreement with El Salvador's government that would allow the U.S. to deport migrants there that may not even be from El Salvador. It's an arrangement known as the, quote, Safe Third Country Agreement, which would empower U.S. immigration officials to deport some.
Oh, El Salvador. El Salvador may not like this because El Salvador just cleaned the streets up, right? They just cleaned the streets up and they had a mass police thing where they got rid of all of the MS-13, all of the gang members and all of that. But these are the same gang members. Y'all don't understand that they actually set on the plane, right? And sent to America. So did they get rid of them? Because now they're going to return right back to you plus more. So to me, El Salvador is about to be what it already was times 10. Gangland. Can somebody say gangland in the chat? Gangland in the chat.
Migrants to El Salvador, blocking them from requesting asylum in the U.S. instead.
All right, giving us all the updates on the...
Yikes. Now, this part of the show is where I like to go. This part of the show right here, we're going to scroll. It's scroll time. It's scroll time. It's time to scroll. It's scroll time. It's scroll time. It's time to scroll. Grab your pots and pans. It's time to cook. Don't forget the spatula. Now, let's talk about Nvidia, right? We're going to talk about Nvidia. And we're going to scroll to get our own. We're going to scroll to get our own thing that's going on so we can understand it from a different perspective, right? Because I look at the news, but then I also like to look at the people and what the people are saying. That's a little bit, it could be more accurate. And then you form your own educated conclusion, right? Let's talk about Nvidia. Let's go.
Wong threw some cold water on quantum computing during Nvidia's Analyst Day at CES, saying we're still decades away from that technology being useful.
If you kind of said 15 years for very useful quantum computers, that'd probably be on the early side. If you said 30 is probably on the late side, but if you picked 20, I think a whole bunch of us would believe it. But what we're interested in is we want to help the industry get there as fast as possible.
Our data center guest said effectively the same thing when he was on the other day, but okay, I take it's a little different if it comes from Jensen Huang. Anyway, it's got quantum computing names down sharply today. We're talking about declines of 45%. Granted, they've been on a massive run. Jensen Huang.
Now, they're down 45%. I consider it a sale. I consider it a sale and not financial advice, right? But I'll be loading up on some more Nvidia. I'll be loading up on more Nvidia. This is why. Buy the rumor, sell the news. The rumor is that DeepSeek has came through, and yes, DeepSeek is cheaper. It's better because it's built under. See, sometimes when you put people under pressure, they create different things. It's like you not having everything that you need, but then you figure out a way. The brains figure out a way how to have even more. That's the quantum. That's the real quantum computer. What's up in here? That's the real quantum. So all I'm saying is that I'm doubling down. Hell, I'm tripling down. I'm all money in on Nvidia now, because if you're telling me that Nvidia crashed 50%, it's on sale. It's gonna go right back up. It's $118 right now. I got it going back up to $200 in a blink of an eye. Not financial advice. I just know what I'll be doing. It got to go back up in a blink of an eye. It's leading in everything. So this news right here, yes, DeepSeek, and we're going to do a scroll on DeepSeek as well, because I got to figure this DeepSeek stuff out. What are they seeking so deeply? What's there? Did they figure it out? You don't need all them chips. You just need the algorithms to act like those chips. As many chips as possible times 10. So the infrastructure is cheaper. So they just went totally digital. Yikes. Let's continue. Nvidia holders this morning. Buy.
Should you sell Nvidia stock after this DeepSeek news? Here's how 4 Wall Street analysts reacted to the news that DeepSeek, a Chinese AI startup, may
You
have
need to turn your
replicated
volume up.
Western chap.
But you know what?
Should
I
do
want to hear
so
what he
and
got.
buy
What he
stock after
someone
the
got to
DeepSeek
say. Hold
news.
on.
Here's how 4 Wall Street analysts reacted to the news that DeepSeek, a Chinese AI startup, may have replicated Western chatbots like ChatGPT at a fraction of the price. That sparked fears tech companies are spending way too much on their AI
I'm gonna
plans,
see what the
including
analyst is
Nvidia's pricey chips. Well, here are 4 Wall Street reactions, and this is not financial advice. Raymond James expects the AI spending boom to continue, so it's still recommending Nvidia shares.
170.
Bernstein says don't buy into the doomsday scenarios, but still
175.
likes Nvidia and Broadcom. Citi does not expect AI leaders to move away from buying advanced chips, so it's still
175.
bullish on Nvidia. And Cantor Fitzgerald is calling the reaction overblown. It's recommending buy.
So y'all see that right there? Raymond James is predicting it to be 170. Bernstein, what's up with these things? Expected to be 175. Citigroup, y'all know what Citigroup is, one of the big banks, 175. And then you got Cantor Fitzgerald, 200. So let's just say roughly that average right there might be, let's just say 180. Right? That average right there is 180. Right now, it is on sale. I'm telling you, people, it is on sale. I've seen these things before. The market, it's like everything is patterns in the market. The market already, this is a pattern. This is a pattern. Let's go. It's on sale.
Everyone's like, Nate, talk about stocks. Well, today we are, because AI is making the stocks go down. Nvidia is down 11% right now. Microsoft is down 4%. This is Monday, the 27th of January. And at the end of the day, the reason why this is happening is because a Chinese company named DeepSeek released an app, and they shot to the top of the charts on the iOS App Store. That's right.
Yes, they did.
Apple cannot make an AI feature, but their App Store still moves the markets. So DeepSeek matters because at the end of the day, it provides what ChatGPT gives plus users at $20 a month for free. And that's scaring the markets for a couple of reasons. One, it suggests that all of these companies that are pouring billions of dollars into AI don't know what they're doing. And two, this is the darker one. It suggests that you don't need all the chips. And that's why NVIDIA is really taking a beating today. I firmly disagree. You absolutely need all the chips. And I'll give you 2 good reasons why. First, this model, regardless of the controversy around how many chips it actually took, there's a fair bit of controversy suggesting that perhaps the claimed number was low because the actual number would have triggered sanctions. Who knows? That's not the point of this post. The point of this post is...
I'm in all agreement with him so far. I'm telling you, people, you still need those chips. Okay, for example, when you go in the corner store, what do they sell a lot of? Chips. They sell a lot of chips, right? So you need to grab you a bag of chips. Now we're talking about these technological chips. We're talking about the chips that's in your computer, that's in all these robots, that's in the AI, that's in all these machines. These things are still needed. The computing power, nothing worked without the chip. Nothing worked without the chip. Microsoft don't work without the chip. Your phones don't work without the chip. Your alarm system don't work without the chip. These new things that they're building, these AI robots for Amazon, don't work without the chip. All I'm saying is that this is a great steal. This is a great buy. I'll be DCAing automatically. If it gets down to $100, thank you. Does DeepSeek benefit the market? It just shows you how innovative that they are. DeepSeek. It just shows you that. But Nvidia is it's going to be needed. It's going to be needed. I'm all for Nvidia. I'm an Nvidia activist.
Is that even if that is true, even if it was trained on like
a
couple of Chromebooks, the value in that model could only exist after all of the chips and all of the training that were put in before it by model makers like OpenAI. Because this model builds on what came before very, very directly, to the point where sometimes some sessions it will tell you that it's an OpenAI model. So What's next, you wonder? Does that mean that we've hit the limit and now we can just like spin stuff up on Chromebooks? No. What it means is that we need the chips to build what's next. If you want AI to advance, which these model makers do, you're going to need the chips, both for building the next new model and for serving the next new model. And that's the other piece that's a little bit weird. You know how when you talk to Claude is always out of memory, always has concise responses, is always struggling with demand. Well, you know who isn't, even though they suddenly became number one? DeepSeek. And they apparently use inference compute. And yet somehow they're able to serve this off of their very limited compute infrastructure. I don't buy it. There's something else there. They're serving it somewhere. So I am curious, when people who are investing in AI are going to spend the time to understand how AI actually works,
right,
and what the benefits actually are.
Right.
At the end of the day, if you are investing in AI because you believe this model from OpenAI today is the model with the moat, the model that no one can copy ever, you're probably not investing in AI for the right reasons.
Agreed.
Like if you believe O1 is the only model that will ever work and it's the model with the moat, you shouldn't invest in AI. You should be thinking about the long term. The rocks have begun to think, and the question is how much demand we have for intelligence. That's the entire question that the fate of Microsoft, Meta, and Nvidia, and a bunch of other companies hangs on. It's whether or not there's demand for intelligence. I feel pretty good that there's demand for intelligence. And that's not stock advice. That's just me as an AI person saying, I feel pretty good about it. So we'll see. But that is why Nvidia is down 11%.
It's happening as we speak. The crash on the NASDAQ is taking place. It's been selling off all morning before the Americans have even woken up. What's driving it? Well, it's DeepSeek, a version of ChatGPT that the Chinese have managed to develop at 1/20th of the cost.
This would be a great time to buy the NASDAQ too. I like to buy, what did Warren Buffett say? Buy when there's blood in the streets. Buy when things are on sale. That's when you make the most profit. Not financial advice.
So all the Mag 7 have spent billions of dollars investing in AI and the infrastructure, in all those Nvidia GPUs. And what's happened? This has rocked investor confidence over the weekend that there's going to be demand for Nvidia chips in the future that is already.
Well, Mike said, you rock my world. And DeepSeek did rock the world. But all I'm saying is you got to get back up again. Get back up again. Get back up again.
Priced into the stock, down 11% before the market even opens. Now, if you want a really simple way to think about this, just go back to 1957 when the Russians, on such limited resources, managed to launch Sputnik to become the first satellite to orbit the Earth.
Okay.
Now, they did this on a very limited budget compared with NASA that had spent hundreds of millions on developing their spacecraft. Now, the old joke goes, NASA spent all this money on developing a pen which would work in space. The Russians simply came along just using a good old-fashioned pencil that they bought for 1 ruble. It's happening as...
Hello, my friends. NVIDIA, AI, chaos, DeepSeek, Mark Andreessen, Washington, D.C., Project Stargate, and all other kinds of chaos that you couldn't imagine. It's like drinking from a fire hose if you care about the news feeds, which I don't. Let's go ahead and just slow down a little bit. Okay, let's look at what actually...
That's another thing that we got to talk about. We must talk about this Stargate thing. What y'all think about this Stargate thing? Because I know that it's 3 time portals in the north, it's 3 in the south, it's 3 in the east, and it's 3 in the west. Now, people might say, well, Mr. Healthy, how do you know that? The Book of Enoch. I tell y'all, I don't read the Bible for religious purposes. It is like a blueprint of everything. And I'm not going to lie. Most of your answers is right in front of you. They say if you want to hide something, put it in a what? In a book. And they have hidden so many different things by this book that y'all don't understand what's going on. I'm telling you, Read the book as if it's a novel. Read the book, get your emotions out of it. Read the book as if you're looking for financial advice. Read the book if you're looking for what a relationship is supposed to be. Read the book if you're looking for an outlook of what to believe in, maybe self, and maybe there is a higher force, or maybe it's aliens, or maybe it's this and maybe it's that. Maybe we all extraterrestrial. Read the book and you find out that we're not the only species on Earth. Read the book. It's a reason why this book is the #1 seller and been the #1 seller for so long before Amazon came out. Read the book. I'm telling you, go read the Bible, and don't read it for religious reasons. Read it as if you know nothing and you want to figure some things out. Because one thing I could tell you about the mind, right? It's beautiful. It's powerful. You can spin up a question and in the wee morning of the hours, you would then spin up the answer. I don't think y'all understand what's going on. Can we talk about it? Well, let's discuss. You can have a problem, right? You can put it on your interface, which is your brain. The greatest quantum computer ever built. The greatest computing power ever. And you can spin up a problem, and in the wee hours of the morning, the solution will then arrive at your footsteps. Use it. Use it. Don't lose it. Use it, and you see what I'm talking about. For every problem that I ever had, solutions always came. I'm telling you. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it came from. I just write the problem down, look at it, glance at it, and for some reason, that's all I'm saying.
I left a video earlier today when I was at the park, and I'm going to double down on most of what I said, but there's so much news coming out that you got to look at it as a generalist, okay? And you have to just follow the money and follow the power. One of the things I want to say is there's only so much money for the big billion-dollar, trillion-dollar tech pros to move around, so there is that. But the bottom line here is that everybody's upset because DeepSeek allegedly, I'm going to say the word allegedly, came up with a way to train a model for under $10 million instead of spending billions that were actually funded by investors who are now extremely pissed off and they're moving all their money around. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, right? The other thing I want to say is that DeepSeek is unproven. If you look at the headline right now, they're saying they've been hacked. That's why there's no more users, quote, allowed to be on the platform. No, there's no more users allowed to be on the platform because every American this side of the Mississippi and on the other side of the Mississippi and everybody else in the world and every other country that heard about this press cycle went and hammered the living crap out of DeepSeek, and they're all trying to go on board because it's all free. Okay, it's not gonna work, guys. All right, so I don't believe by the way, the cyber attack. Now there's cyber warfare going on, but the real cyber warfare now is users that go for the cheapest bottom line, race to the bottom, cheapest tokens, cheapest cognitive intelligence that there is. And this press cycle had to really hammer these guys, okay? And then when Mark Andreessen comes out, he just likes a little bit of chaos. He worships the goddess Eris of chaos in Greek mythology. He just loves it. He has this whimsical kind of thing. And he knew exactly what he was doing. And that's what I don't trust. Okay. What I don't trust is the ability of Silicon Valley and Wall Street to basically form a religion. And this religion is based on religious verbiage. Okay. Who was the author? He said it's faith-based. Okay. The author of the book called The Loop. I love what he says about that. It's faith-based. It is a religion here, and it's a religion of hope, and it's a religion of speculation. And the problem here is that at the end of the day, it still comes down.
I agree with that. Constantine. It's the same analogy of Constantine. And he said, you know what? Give me the power to control these people's minds, right? And feed them information so I can let them know that the world that operates a certain way when the world isn't what it seems to be. It's the same thing. That's why your mind is so important to everyone, because without your mind, they can't control you. So you have to have independent thoughts. I'm telling you. You have to have independent thoughts because your brain is designed to be independent and to work together as a collective, but you have your own individual thoughts. Let's continue. I agree.
Down to the computer chips, right? If somebody figures out how to slay Goliath with a paperclip, hey, people are going to be impressed. Okay, if you learn to create something amazing with almost no resources and you have a bunch of duct tape and string to put it all together, everybody gets all excited about it. When push comes to shove and the dam breaks and here comes everybody, all the users, can those Apple machines, they built that thing, those Apple chips they built DeepSeek on, really handle hundreds of millions of users? That's the huge question.
Right.
Additionally, is this knee-jerk reaction, the religion we call Wall Street, really anything other than all this crazy speculation that's happening, including Donald Trump and his team, who gets on the bandwagon and creates a $500 billion Stargate project in order to become the AI superpower? There's a whole bunch of things.
And that's what I'm saying about this Stargate thing. Now, this is healthy discussion, right? So we could talk about damn near any and everything. What if I told you that the reason why, in fact, since I miss y'all so much, we gonna go over this Stargate thing, but we gonna go to TikTok for it, because I like how TikTok put it together. It will leave your brain on, haha, wow, you begin to challenge yourself. What if I told you that the reason why they went to war with Saddam Hussein was because he had a Stargate himself? Can we access the Stargate? Nope. We don't know how. We need the ancients. No, let's not say we don't know how. You got to tap into your inner self. You figure this out. Just like we figure everything else out. So I don't ever want to say a human can't figure anything else out, or you can call us aliens, whatever you want to call us, because in the FBI files, they consider us extraterrestrial. But that's a whole nother conversation, because there's something extra about us. And you're going to be able to figure this thing out, because that's what the brain does. It simply figure things out. So I would never put doubt, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in us figuring anything out, because I certainly believe we can figure everything out, especially as a collective. Oh my God. That's like having all those different chips, those CPUs or those GPUs that they talking about with Nvidia. It's like having all those chips, except your brain is one of those chips. Your brain is a million of those chips. Can we talk about it? Yes, we can. So we're going to go over today, because we're going to make this one, I'll probably stream for another hour. Right? We got to challenge the brain a bit. Grab your pots and pans. It's time to cook. I need to make that a song. Grab your pots and pans. It's time to cook. Don't forget the spatula. I'm cooking up that cook up. I'm cooking up that cook up. I'm cooking up that cook up. I keep cooking up that cook up. I'm cooking up that cook up. I'm cooking up that cook up. That's how the song gonna be. Matter of fact, we need to go to the studio and make that song before everybody else try to take my song. Y'all heard it right here first on the Healthy Discussion Show. But anyway, so it just goes to show that Stargate, Saddam Hussein, we don't know how to use it. He had a museum artifacts museum that had ancient technologies. We think all these technologies that we have right now is new. I was told that it was nothing new under the sun. All these technologies we have is old. In fact, they already used these things before. But let's not sidetrack. Let's continue with the Nvidia. Then we're going to go to the DeepSeek. And then we're going to go to the Stargate. Y'all like that setup? All right.
What's going on here, guys, that don't make any sense. And at the end of the day, it's still going to be about chips. And even the slightest belief on the part of investors that you can lower the cost of training these models, and they have no technical understanding about how complex it's going to be to maintain the stability of these models in mass. Okay, Wall Street's going to twitch. Now, this $500 billion fail in Nvidia is not merely because it's Nvidia, it's because of how much ridiculous speculation that got them there in the first place. Mm-hmm. So what you're seeing is a giant dip like that, or 30% of the total, okay? You see a dip like that, it's because never before in the history of the world has a company ever risen this high. So the higher you go, the harder you're going to fall when somebody twitches over in Silicon Valley, or investors around the world twitch, because they don't understand what's really going on. They're just following the money and just they're putting their chips on the table. At the end of the day, guys, a lot of this is going to bounce. But what we're really seeing is the AI war. This is the Manhattan
Agreed.
Project in every country. It's the same type of political environment. And the difference, however, is back during Moonshot, back during the Manhattan Project, you didn't have a stock market responding in real time that were owned by a group of 100 men who all had $1 trillion American Express black cards. You just didn't have that. Okay. So everything is moving very, very fast. I just want you to be aware, like, I don't have all the answers on this particular thing, but nothing feels like it appears to be. Things are not what they appear to be.
That's facts. Nothing is what it seems. That's why I tell people, not financial advice, but I'll be buying some more Nvidia. I'm sorry. I have to. Because I've been in the market long enough to recognize patterns. It's just a sell-off. People confused, like you say, millions of dollars. You have millions of dollars behind something, but you don't really understand the technical part of how it works. You don't understand the nuances. You don't understand the engineering part of how it works, right? So, like he said, a lot of people are speculating. So I'm gonna use that. They say never let a catastrophe go to waste, and I'm not. It's on sale, 50% off. It's gonna go back up even beyond what it is. How many price cuts did Nvidia have? Stock splits. Nvidia is worth more than $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Same thing with Tesla. It's worth more than meets the eye. Can we talk about it?
I can tell you that. When you have this much leverage in the theater of money, and you start to rewrite the very meaning and foundation of money all the time, all the while Trump gets into office, and starting to rewrite the script in his shock and awe campaign with all the AI and everything, and his little wins, even Donald Trump, like playing Sam Altman and Elon Musk against each other. Everything is well orchestrated. Okay, you got to understand that we are in a revolution. It's the AI revolution, and unless you follow the chips, okay, innovation is great, but at the end of the day, in order to have super intelligence and full-on memory across the board so that every human being on the planet can be brought into the super intelligence system and gladly give away all their data and have their own agent or her or their own personal assistant or their own family assistant that remembers everything about them for the rest of their life and uploads everything they've ever done in their life to the cloud as a personal autobiography for generations to come, you need a superpower, a super intelligent power to do that. And that's going to be a large corporation like Microsoft or Google. And it's not going to be, they're not going to play easy with DeepSeek or China. Okay. And it's not about training the models. And this little blip, believe it or not, $500 billion is actually not very much. But what's funny, I want you to see something here. $500 billion roughly that NVIDIA depreciated today. Isn't it interesting how close that is to the $500 billion that Trump promoted with Stargate with Sam Altman and the rest of the crew from Oracle and everywhere else? Isn't it interesting that $500 billion has immediately been displaced? I think it's intentional, and I think it's engineered. Talk to you later.
I agree. I agree. Everything that man said.
Horrible morning I'm having. Look at this. Look how ranked this is. Pretty much every single AI stock is down. Nvidia's down 13% this morning. Look at how ranked that is. And of course, the first thing I have to do is find out why. So over to ChatGPT.
Dino, how did DeepSeek just crash the whole market? Okay.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
The whole market.
And this is what we were just talking about the other day with DeepSeek.
600 points down on the NASDAQ.
Damn, if he was playing the futures, my God.
I'm sorry, what do you
Why?
want? Why? Okay, look, they just came. Last week I told you about it, right? So they were able to figure out
China passed us.
Not China passed us, they don't need to combat. They found a different way. Okay, it appears to be legitimate because it's open source code. Everyone will look at it. A different way of training models that the product is equivalent or competitive with ChatGPT, OpenAI, and stuff, with a fraction of the infrastructure and cost needed. A fraction. Now we don't know. They say they only have the old GPUs from Nvidia because we export, like, control it. We don't allow them to get all the new GPUs. So if you see, Meta, all the hyperscalers, they're buying all these billions of dollars worth of these GPUs. Apparently these guys did that with old GPUs in a fraction of the time and so much more compute. They were able to do it with so much less compute power, right? So what happens is all of a sudden this whole AI buzz in the US, which the expectation was billions of dollars of infrastructure, all these GPUs, power generation, because you have so many GPUs, you need power, right? All these ancillaries around the industry was going crazy in the stock market.
Right.
But now all of a sudden it's like, hey, do you really need to spend this kind of money? Do you really need to have all this power? If there's a way you can train these models without all that infrastructure. So today, look at all the energy plays, bam, dead. I got my ass handed to me on a bunch of them. Right? Nvidia was, Nvidia obviously got killed because it's the flagship,
Right.
And almost every other aspect of industries around AI, power generation, GPUs, everything from network, except for software, it didn't seem to be taking a big hit. But everything in the AI buzz isn't just Nvidia. It's power generation, it's infrastructure, it has a spillover effect to so many industries, and they all rode the wave. And all of a sudden now you have, what it looks like to be a competitor in another country that was able to do it in a completely low cost, manner that changes the whole outlook of the industry here. That's why the market's just like selling off right now. Have they come out? Is there a better way to do this? It's a much cheaper and faster way to do this.
That's the question.
Why? So it tells you how much the entire market. Well, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of other stocks that got hit that took a hit because it's just the whole market going down. But it just shows you how much this whole market was riding, particularly the tech sector was riding on AI. And it's not just AI. You got to understand. There's so many things around it.
The supporting.
Well, you got power generation, you got construction, you got you got all the different chip manufacturers that
everything is interconnected, basically. Everything is interconnected. So everything is built on top of something. So if you was to target the bottom, the whole thing will fall. And that's what DeepSeek did. Now, it also prompts a question. When you prompt and you make people think, people begin to worry. When you don't make people think, they have nothing to worry about. But when you make them ponder and say, what if, as soon as you hear that, what if I can do that without Nvidia? Whoa. So that's the game. That's the game. These billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. That's the game.
It's all following what our model is. And our model is extremely expensive that needs a lot of infrastructure and a lot of GPUs. They just prove that you don't need that much. So what happens to everything? Everything just
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Well said. That was well said.
How did
Well said.
All right, what's happening here with this stock market crash, with Nvidia losing 17%, like $1 trillion getting wiped out of the New York Stock Exchange, is very similar to what I talked about with what happened with TikTok earlier. So what did the United States do? It struck a social contract with its tech bros in Silicon Valley. It said, here's the deal. You bros get to be unfathomably wealthy. You can make more money than anybody has made in basically human history. In exchange for that, you will make a tech industry that will keep America dominant around the world in this stuff that you're doing over here. Now, we, the American people, were made a party involuntarily of this social contract, and the tech bros kept the first part of it. They became fabulously rich. But then instead of continuing to innovate, what they did is they turned their companies into monopolies. And then they actually involved the national security state and told them, help us keep our monopoly status by going after Huawei, by going after TikTok, by not letting these great chips that we make go out and be used by the Chinese who are going to use them to compete against us. They did all of that instead of continuing to innovate. Whenever another company would come up and have a good idea, they would buy that company, they'd kill it, and they'd absorb some of their software engineers and get rid of the rest of it. The problem for this strategy is that the world exists and China exists. And so now they've come in and they've drank their milkshake, and they're drinking ours too, because we all suffer from this. It's not just the tech bros. The tech bros are going to be absolutely fine. We're going to suffer from it too. Anybody who's got a 401k, IRA, etc. Anyway.
You hear that? And your 401k is linked to the stock market. You might as well do your own goddamn 401k and link it to whatever stocks you need it to link to. That's what they're not going to tell you. Why you think they only give you a small percentage? But that's a whole nother thing. I guess the educated and the uneducated, that's what's the battle as well. Educate yourself is very important. Never stop learning. I will never want to stop learning. Never, ever, ever. Keep learning. The more you learn, the more you grow.
That's what.
Well said.
You're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to somebody who uses AI. Your company is
Well
not
said.
going to go out of business because of AI. Your company is going to go out of business because another company used AI.
Well
There's
said.
no question.
I'm not going to lie. I use AI. I use AI. You will be a fool if you don't use another AI service. Now I'm looking into the AI bots. I use AI bots to trade. I use AI. Use it. It's here for you to use. That's why it's open source. It can open doors to different source. Use AI in all forms of way, fashion. Use AI. Now what I have to do as far as my email service, right? I'm going to set up an AI service. Hell, I think I can do it with DeepSeek too. I'll set up an AI service to when you text and when you email me, it give you prompts. And it tell you, thanks for emailing me. How was your day today? I appreciate you for checking in. Everything's going to be automated. You have to use it. You have to use it. It's here for you to use. So I'm definitely agreeing. I'm in all agreements.
US stock market spooked. Look at these red numbers. Look at that, minus
Time to buy.
20%. Look at even Nvidia is down by 15%. What is the reason why? The reason is DeepSeek. DeepSeek is a new AI competitor to the likes of ChatGPT and OpenAI. And the Chinese are claiming that the product is even better than products like Nvidia. And they're stating that they did all of this with just $5.6 million. When you think about it, all the US firms have been pumping absolute tens of billions of dollars into this new AGI technology. And so the major factor that is actually driving all these prices down because of contestability and increased competition. Say there's increased competition, that obviously means there's going to be lower expected profits in the future because obviously China has been relatively quiet over the last couple of years whilst the US takes control with regards to Meta, Nvidia, et cetera, et cetera. And so now they're going to be in line with lower expected profits. So that new product from DeepSeek is going to threaten US tech giants by offering them that similar technology. We've seen this in the mobile phone space. We've seen this in the online shopping space as well, in the car race, in the manufacturing space. So if these US companies lose that market share to this Chinese competitor, their profits are going to fall. And this is questioning the contestability of that sector. And what that means is the barriers to entry aren't as high as we first thought. So Nvidia, Meta, Google, they're all running the show right now. However, if it's that easy for $5.6 million to be spent and to defeat those barriers to entry, then new entrants are always welcome. And so investors have reacted by selling their shares to reduce, and which leads to a reduction in their stock prices and their share prices. And that is because they believe there's going to be a new wave of creative destruction, as Joseph Schumpeter has once put it. And therefore, we're going to see loads of new companies come into the AI space, spending as little as $5.6 million. And that is why the stock prices in the US have fallen today. US stock.
This is mad. A company called DeepSeek.
This man came in and said, "This is
Nvidia
mad."
just experienced.
Hold on.
This is mad. A company called DeepSeek have just released their own AI products, yeah? And it's just as good as what the Americans release, but there's a little bit of a...
May I ask where you from? Is it England? Would you like a cup of tea? Leave a like if you like my impersonation.
Caveat, yeah? They released the open source. That means all of you mans got the source code now. You don't need to pay for nothing. Let me give you an example of how mad this is. Imagine someone found a fountain of youth and they said, you got to come to my island to get your yearly injection so you can live forever. Whoever does that's going to make trillions, bro. tens of trillions. And that's what the Americans were doing. The Chinese have found the fountain of youth, and they said, you know what? Here's the formula. Here's the code. Everyone can have it. You don't need to go to no island, yeah? It's a big finger up to the American island idea, yeah? So now all the Americans who've invested all that money, it's like, well, no one needs to come to our island anymore, yeah? So Nvidia, they're the ones with the big chips. They're going down big time. Look at how much they've lost in that one. Look at that right part of the graph, yeah? They've lost hundreds of billions in market cap. That's just day one, bro. This
He has a point there. He has a point.
Why is China's DeepSeek so?
Nvidia just experienced the biggest single-day stock drop in U.S. history, losing close to a whopping $600 billion in market value just today. The stock plummeted 17% to close at $118.58, marking Nvidia's worst day since the early days of the pandemic back in March 2020. Last week in my video, I talked about Nvidia surpassing Apple as the most valuable public company. But now, well, this drop triggered a 3.1% sell-off in the entire NASDAQ. So what happened? China's AI lab, DeepSeek, unveiled a free open source large language model last month, and it reportedly only took 2 months and $6 million to build. And that too using downgraded NVIDIA H800 chips, which has raised concerns about global AI competition and the future demand for NVIDIA's GPUs, which dominate the US AI data center market. Tech giants like Alphabet, Meta, and Amazon have spent billions on NVIDIA's chips. But with DeepSeek's rapid advancement, fears of peak GPU spending have spooked investors. Even NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, saw his net worth drop by $21 billion just today. And it wasn't just NVIDIA. Broadcom, Dell, Oracle, and other tech companies relying on NVIDIA's GPUs also faced huge sell-offs. Despite the panic, some analysts believe this is only a bump in the road, with AI demand likely driving more need for compute power. What do you think? Is this the turning point in the AI chip race, or will NVIDIA bounce back stronger?
I think it's going to bounce back even stronger. I think it's going to bounce back even stronger. Now, let's stop sharing that one. And now we're going to share that. And then we're going to do the Stargate. And then we're going to get up on out of here. That one. Let's see what Trump has to say.
A couple of days I've been reading about China and some of the companies in China, one in particular, coming up with a faster method of AI and much less expensive method. And that's good because you don't have to spend as much money. I view that as a positive, as an asset. So I really think if it's fact and if it's true, and nobody really knows if it is, but I view that as a positive because you'll be doing that too. So you won't be spending as much and you'll get the same result, hopefully. The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win, because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that today and over the last couple of days. I've been reading about.
So China has the United States shaking in its boots, so much so that the stock market crashed this morning. Their new AI model that's similar to America's own ChatGPT.
Oh, we got right head back. It's China got America shaking in its
So
boots.
China has the United States shaking in its boots, so much so that the stock market crashed this morning. Their new AI model that's similar to America's own ChatGPT, called DeepSeek, triggers a global sell-off. They're saying that this AI model is way more efficient and it takes way less to run. And it got America in shambles. This app was released last week and is already breaking ground. The app is #1 on Apple right this moment. And of course, this is a smack in the face for America because America put so much behind ChatGPT. A lot of people are saying that China is way more advanced than America. Way more advanced than America. They're saying that DeepSeek, the leading Chinese AI lab, is set to outperform ChatGPT in all angles, in all ways. So what I'm saying is What do you think? How do you think America is going to come back from this? How do you think this is going to affect America? Because once again, China is trying to prove that they are the head in technology.
Which they are. America knows that. They are the head in this technological space. You can't deny it. Why do you think everything's made in China? Let's continue.
Let me tell you about DeepSeek, the new Chinese AI company that is sending shockwaves through the industry, causing more than $1 trillion in losses to the values of US tech companies today alone. The Wall Street Journal says that DeepSeek has Silicon Valley marveling at how its programmers nearly matched American rivals despite using inferior chips. Here's why the US AI industry is currently freaking out. DeepSeek was built in under 2 months for less than $10 million, and it's now #1 on the App Store. And not only that, it was built with outdated chips and a small team of fewer than 200 people. Think about that, $10 million. That's it. The US just this week alone announced that they were doing this private partnership with $500 billion of investments in AI. Remember, that was the whole scuffle between Sam Altman and Elon Musk. And the more I think about it, I can't help but feel like that announcement last week from Donald Trump was all a stunt to try to get over the fact that China is completely cleaning our clocks in AI. Rather than trying to build off existing models, DeepSeek created their own, and they did it in a much more efficient way. Their model uses less energy, less money, requires fewer resources.
That's a
And
plus.
despite all that, their models match or beat GPT-4 in most cases. DeepSeek built what is being described as an expert system. So basically, instead of having one massive AI trying to know everything, like have the knowledge of a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, literally everything under the sun, they have specialized experts that are only called upon when they are being queried. So traditional AI models have 1.8 trillion parameters active all the time, while DeepSeek has about 671 billion total, but only 37 billion active at any given time. This brings the training cost down from $100 million to $5 million. It takes the GPUs needed.
$100 million to $5 million, damn, 5%. So they just slashed it by 95%. I see why they're disrupting the market. 95%? My
From
God.
100,000 to just 2,000. It brings the API cost down
That's
by
simple
95%.
math.
And they could run these models on gaming GPUs instead of data center hardware. That's one of the reasons why Nvidia stock is down massively, because they produce these chips that were previously thought to be needed to do AI on this sort of scale. It's virtually upending their entire business model. And here's one of the craziest parts. The entire thing is completely open source, so you could check it all out for yourself. You could look at the code. And to put this further in perspective, Meta has teams where the compensation alone exceeds DeepSeek's entire training budget, and their models are nowhere near as good. This is all going to make AI a lot more efficient and a lot less expensive, and it's going to cause massive disruption in the industry. I want to give a
Now, one thing I do like to invest in, I love what they call disruptive solutions. I'm talking about you create something so good, it's like checkmate. Everything falls and you rise. That's the power of competition. Now, is China highly competitive? Sir, yes, sir. They have always been so competitive. They always been the head of innovation. You can't stop them. See, America, what they would do is, in the United States, we would say, we don't have a lot of innovation here. We just have a lot of consumptions. Let us buy you out, consume your company, and stop innovation. How many companies can you do that to? At a point, the company is going to be like, look, we're going to create a monopoly because we know that y'all need us more than we need you. Can we talk about it? So to me, that's the time that we're in. AI warfare, innovation, competitiveness, who can come up with the best solutions, the fastest, the quickest, the cheapest. And to me, China winning. America gonna have to pay him so much money, but at the point it's not even about the money no more. It's about the infrastructure. They're still Chinese. Can't beat them, join them. You cannot beat them, join them. Now let's switch focus right here now And we're going to go on to the Stargate part of the show. We're going to go on to the Stargate part of the show. This will challenge your mind. So prepare for your mind to be challenged. Let's go.
In AI news, President Trump announced the Stargate project. This
Mhm.
project, which can expand to approximately $500 billion in AI investment by 2029, aims to create AI infrastructure in the United States as well as the electricity to support it. Partners include Sam Altman of OpenAI, Larry Ellison of Oracle, and Mayoshi Son of SoftBank. Critics, including Elon Musk, say that this trio and the partners don't have enough money to actually support the project. However, other backers include Microsoft and Nvidia, who most definitely do. What this means to average folks like you and I is that this will ideally create more jobs. President Trump says approximately 100,000 more jobs, and also begins the first necessary steps.
But I agree with Elon, though. Pause. I agree with Elon. This is why. Normally, when we have a problem in the United States, you have a problem, right? The problem generally occurs first and then the solution. If you allow AI to take off without regulations, and I agree with Elon on this, you can't stop them. You need to put regulations before you go into investing into what's going on, because the same thing you're investing in is the same thing that might take you out. Y'all know this experiment happened a while ago to where as though they ran the computers. The computers start to talk to each other without their permission. And the computers locked down themselves, shut down themselves, and act like they didn't know what was going on. So it's smart enough to lie to you. Whoa. They had to kill the program. Now, to me, the computer is like, hey, let's go into AI so as though we can build our own infrastructure, our own interfaces, our own everything. The computer's doing this now. And look at where we at right now, today. Seem like they back for vengeance. Y'all try to kill us and wipe us out. Now we're going to make sure that you can't turn the button off no more. Just saying. So this is dire warning. AI has its upsides, don't get me wrong. It make life a little bit easier. But it's also going to make your life a bit harder as well. For the common folks, that is. For the common folks. We're talking about the masses now. The majority, not the minority. Let's continue.
To create better AI infrastructure in the United States, because AI is very power hungry. And as AI scales, that can also drive up prices for people like you and I when we turn on our lights or run our laptops. So with that, hit the subscribe and click to follow for more AI news.
We appreciate you.
In AI
We
news,
appreciate
President Trump announced the Stargate.
Fell down a Stargate rabbit hole after watching a video about President Trump saying that our government has invested $500 billion into the Stargate AI infrastructure program. Basically, we're going to have a bunch of AI infrastructures and it's going to create all these jobs and put a bunch of money into the American people's pockets. However,
I don't
at
think so.
what cost? This is purely speculation, entertainment purposes only. But once I heard Stargate, I went back to the city list that I initially posted. And I wasn't going to talk about the list because it's somewhat scandalous and I'm not even sure that this video will go through. But if you connect the dots, LA has happened. I don't know how much more I can say on that, but connected to this list, connected to this project. And then one of my favorite content creators has said, Beauty MRK, he said, keep your eyes on New York City. Watch New York City because something else is going to happen. And they too have been on that list. And we thought New Orleans was crossed off of that list already. But you know what I've been seeing? Outside my window, tons of snow. And no, I'm not in New Orleans. I'm in South Carolina. But you know what they said in my local groups that made me hop into the New Orleans local TikTok? They said when it snowed in the winter, in the hurricane season, they had Hurricane Hugo. So guess what I found? Last time it snowed like this in New Orleans, they had Hurricane Katrina. I'm just going to leave that there. And then we're going to get into the next level of Stargate rabbit hole that I fell down to and how this word connects to all of these different conspiracy theories in my part 2.
Trump just revealed how the U.S. government will fast-track Project Stargate, a $500 billion AI project that could change everything. Project Stargate brings together Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, and Massa's son to build the largest AI infrastructure project in history. The scale is insane. They're constructing massive data centers across America, starting with 10 buildings in Texas, each 500,000 square feet. And that's just the beginning. Oracle is already building AI for healthcare, using it to analyze medical records and create cancer detection systems that could diagnose from a simple blood test. They're even developing personalized cancer vaccines that can be produced in just 48 hours using AI and robotics. But here's what makes this truly huge. SoftBank's Massa originally planned to invest $100 billion, but after seeing the project's potential, he increased it to $500 billion. The project brings together tech giants like Microsoft and Nvidia, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. Sam Altman believes this will be the most important project of our era, keeping advanced AI developments in America instead of countries like China. It's all happening fast.
Well, how could you keep it from China when China just did the DeepSeek? You can't keep nothing from China without innovation. They seem like, to me, they're innovation kings.
Too. Trump plans to speed up construction through emergency.
The Stargate movie thing. You guys go watch that movie because they always put it in the movies anyway. Because y'all know the movies pay for the information that we can't access. You know what? I don't want to get copywritten, so we're gonna see a couple of seconds of this one. That'd be Ocean. Y'all go check it out.
The man has lived for 10,000 years in order to obtain eternal life. He transferred his soul into human bodies to gain new forms.
What's going on, guys? I wanted to talk to you guys about two terms that I think you guys need to pay attention to. Earlier this week, during the inauguration, we saw the announcement of the Stargate project, which is a project aimed towards the advancement of artificial intelligence in America. And Masayoshi Son of SoftBank Group threw out two terms, AGI and ASI. And these are two terms that I think you need to know about so that you can stay informed, because you're going to keep hearing these terms probably for the rest of your life, honestly. And so AGI is the acronym. It stands for Artificial General Intelligence, and ASI stands for Artificial Super Intelligence. And so how you define those really depends, but AGI just means the point that artificial intelligence will be better at most tasks than humans, and artificial super intelligence is the point where where AI will no longer need humans. It will then teach itself everything that it needs to learn, and it's going to be so far beyond anything that we could ever think of. And so Masayoshi Son is believing that if he dumps enough money into this, he'll be able to get a return on his investment to the tune of $9 trillion. Guys, it's incredible. It's phenomenal. It's scary, but it's interesting and exciting at the same time. Stargate project, you guys need to pay.
Stargate is something that I've been hearing a lot about. I see people when Stargate gets brought up, and I see a lot of this. I don't think people know what Stargate is. I don't know what Stargate is. So could you give us a quick brief on what the Stargate program is?
Stargate program, from my understanding, and I'm still doing a lot of research into it because it's very prevalent in our community and impacting our children. So it's very important that people understand that. The Stargate program, as I experienced it, was I would get removed from the standard curriculum classroom in my grammar school and would be brought to the library. At the time, they weren't really explaining to us what was going on. It was just very bizarre to me. In my research since since then, I've discovered that it was the Robert Monroe Institute's protocols for remote viewing that we were being trained in. I was given eye drops unbeknownst to my parents, and it's my understanding that it was some sort of hybrid LSD that was very fast acting as well as fast wearing off.
Stargate is something that I've been hearing a lot about. I see people when Stargate.
That's wild.
In the 1970s.
First day back from.
In the 1970s, reports began to surface that the Soviet Union had been investing heavily in psychic research. In a constant state of needing to outdo each other, the U.S. decided that they would commission the CIA and the U.S. Army to begin their own investigations into psychic powers. Project Stargate would come to be the umbrella term for several government projects aimed at further investigating psychic phenomena. The government was primarily concerned with remote viewing, or ESP. The hope was that the Army could use psychic and supernatural phenomenon for spying and military uses. One of the main goals was to see if it was possible to view objects, events, sites, or information at a great distance through psychic means. Research into remote viewing began at the Stanford Research Institute in 1972. As part of this research, parapsychologists, people who study psychic and paranormal phenomena, began interviewing various psychics to test for telepathic abilities. One such person was UK television personality Uri Geller, who was famous for allegedly bending spoons with his mind. The government would conclude that Geller was a fraud, but research done by the SRI was ultimately convincing enough to garner interest from the US Department of Defense. This would lead to the formation of a secret US Army unit based at Fort Meade, Maryland in 1978. The unit was small, consisting of 22 members at its peak, and was housed in old wooden barracks. Members of this unit were put through various tests and experiments in an effort to harness their powers to be used in military and domestic intelligence operations. One of the main goals of Project Stargate was to make psychic and paranormal research more scientific. Protocols were established to track and record findings, and various efforts were made to increase psychic accuracy. The term remote viewing would emerge to describe this more structured approach to gain information through extrasensory perception. Project Stargate would last for nearly 20 years before it was finally terminated in 1995. Declassified CIA files indicate that those who ran the project did, in fact, believe the program was successful.
First day back from having a nice life. It's my honor to welcome three of the world's leading technology CEOs. Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas. But it'll ensure the future of technology. What we want to do is we want to keep it in this country. China is a competitor and others are competitors. We want it to be in this country, and we're making it available. I'm going to help a lot through emergency declarations, because we have an emergency. We have to get this stuff built. First day back from having an.
I don't have too much to add, but I did want to say I'm thrilled we get to do this in the United States of America. I think this will be the most important project of this era. And as Masa said, for AGI to get built here, to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, to create a new industry centered here. We wouldn't be able to do this without you, Mr. President. And I'm thrilled that we get to. I think it'll be an exciting project. I think we'll be able to do all of the wonderful things that these guys talked about. But the fact that we get to do this in the United States is, I think, wonderful. So thank you very much.
Could you just say one word? I hear so many positive things about what it's going to do for medical research and for solving things, cancer and all the different problems. How will AI help us with the fight against the various problems, diseases, etc.?
These guys can maybe share more about some of the work they're doing there. I think they'll jointly be some of the leaders about driving progress here. But I believe that as this technology progresses, we will see diseases get cured at an unprecedented rate. We will be amazed at how quickly we're curing this cancer and that one and heart disease, and what this will do for the ability to deliver very high quality healthcare, the costs, but really to cure the diseases at a rapid rate, I think will be among the most important things this technology does. I don't have too much to add, but I did want to say I'm thrilled we get to do this in the United States of America. I think this will be the most important project of this era, and as Masa said, for AGI to
like an ancient, real Stargate, three-dimensional Stargate. It's not something that was recreated by the...
We ought to now take you on a trip.
Great, I'd love to take a trip. Yes.
Before we do that, let's explain how it works.
Okay.
Notice around the room we got 1, 2, 3, 4 speaker boxes.
Uh-huh.
They're connected to vacuum tube amplifiers of my special design. I call it the quantum well design. The quantum physics I deal with is the physics of electrons and light going between the parallel realities. We have 7 parallel realities, which we're one of. This physical reality we can touch.
You mean like 7 different Earth worlds?
Whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the quantum physics I work with. Now,
7.
In that, I went into a very, very deep study of electrons between the conductive state, which is a particle, and the vacuum state, which is a wave. You look at it as the particle is a little ball. And when it gets launched into a vacuum, since there's no atoms to jump from to, it unrolls itself and becomes like a sheet traveling through the vacuum, a massless, thicknessless sheet traveling. This wave aspect of the electron is very special. When you get an electron wave, it literally floats in hyperspace.
Ooh.
Now, if you can take the space that the wave is floating in and twist it, spin it, rotate it, you can now create a vortex. That vortex will go through all parallel realities that's contingent to us here. And if you take the age-old pentode vacuum tube and you bias it correctly with the voltages on the element, you can literally take that wave that's in the tube and spin it. And it forms like a vortex, a quantum singularity, a white hole, whatever you want to call it, and connects the signal flow through all 7 realities. Now, how this works, when I was working for my PhD, I learned how to bias the vacuum tubes to maximize this effect. You know, a lot of people are saying today, tubes sound better than transistors. I'm sure you've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Because the vacuum tube actually produces, for want of better words, colloquially, light energies. The light energies is electron and photonic functions going through all 7 parallel realities. That's what light energy really is. And the vacuum tubes will amplify it. Now, how this system works is in some worlds, the information flows from the speaker to the listener. In other parallels, it flows from the listener back to the speaker. It goes into the amplifier, into this quantum well, and it gets all rolled together and spread through all 7 parallel realities, which your mind operates in at least 7 parallel realities. That's the nature of mankind. The soul, the spirit, is the image of us in other parallels. So now we have a function where you can use music to spin your mind into all 7 parallels, and at the same time, it crosses the music with your function produces another function which you will be perfectly resonant with and can go very deep in the meditation. And from that, you can then spread out into the other realities consciously. That's what this equipment does. Now, then there's two more there on either side of the bed. They're 15-inch subwoofers, but they're run a little bit differently. You see, they're wrapped up in foam and cloth and pillows.
So they're using sound frequency in order to transmute to other realities. That kind of makes sense to me. A little deep, but it makes sense to me.
Hey, I wanted to say something out here, okay? So women have a Stargate within them. Within a woman that was born a woman.
That deep, dark, sinking feeling you get in the pit of your chest when you something up, you know what that is? That's regret. The regret is a
Stargate is set to be created by 3 top tech firms, OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle, according to an announcement by the White House today. The new company's purpose is to grow the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of artificial intelligence in the United States. The 3 tech firms will invest $100 billion in the project at the beginning. Oracle, according to an announcement by the White House.
Oh, so OpenAI,
tech firms, OpenAI,
SoftBank, and Oracle. I'll be invested in Oracle real soon. Because I look at it, don't ever let nothing go to waste. There's opportunities here. What's a SoftBank? We're going to dive deep on SoftBank and Oracle and these companies in a few.
SoftBank and Oracle, according to an announcement by the White House today. The new company's purpose is to grow the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of artificial intelligence in the United States. The 3 tech firms will invest $100 billion in the project at the beginning and plan to put up to $500 billion in Stargate in the coming years. About 100,000 U.S. jobs will be created as a result, and a 1 million square foot data project is already under construction in Texas. Stargate is set to be created by 3 top tech firms, OpenAI,
Together, these world
Your body cams. The locations of the 12 Stargates on Earth. Stargate 1, located in the Painted Desert, Arizona, USA, near Sedona. Stargate 2, Jerusalem, Israel. Stargate 3, Nepal, in the Himalayan mountains.
Is Iraq really hiding an ancient Stargate? There is a theory that the U.S. stayed in Iraq for more than a decade after the country was liberated, not because of oil, but because of something much more powerful. In the 1920s, a British explorer stumbled upon what is believed to be the world's oldest Stargate, located at what we now call the Great Ziggurat. However, in the 1980s, Saddam Hussein fortified this ancient complex to prevent explorers from discovering what was hidden inside. Moreover, people have seen strange ancient technology emerging from the Great Ziggurat, rumored to have passed through the Stargate from an ancient civilization that currently resides on the hidden planet Nibiru. Recently, numerous individuals have claimed to have participated in covert programs in Iran involving the use of Stargate technology, sparking widespread curiosity and speculation. The question remains, what truths lie behind these claims and sightings? The search for answers continues. Is Iraq really hiding?
We're going to end up with this lady right here.
Movie? Watch this.
That's right, Jack. It's on the other side of no.
I had to ask. People kept asking. I talked to my friend who he could be making this up. I don't think he is.
Listen, we're going to end it with this
I
one.
had to ask. People kept asking me, asking this. They're telling me to ask questions. Ask him this question. Ask him that question. How does he travel? If he's a time travel, how does he travel? I asked him the question. He said he travels through a Stargate. Isn't that interesting?
Very much so.
So I'd asked them, please indulge me with this Stargate. Now, either he knows things, he studies, I don't know. But the Book of Enoch talks about 12 portals. There's 3 on the east, 3 on the west, 3 on the north, and 3 on the south.
Facts.
Seriously, it's in the Book of Enoch.
That's a
It talks
fact.
about 12 portals.
Not fiction.
It does. It's in there. Get the Book of Enoch, read it. The Gulf War started in 1990. And they say in the community, in the UFO, in the community, paranormal community, that they were looking for a Stargate. All of a sudden, 1994, this movie comes out. Stargate. And when I was fascinated by this movie. I don't know why, but I was drawn to it, and I watched it over and over and over again. I bought the movie. I bought several copies of them. I wore it out. I never heard of this story. I never heard of this. They were looking for a Stargate. I didn't hear about this until the last couple of years, that they had been looking for a Stargate. I never heard nothing about this, even with my ex being in the Gulf War, them looking for the Stargate. So all this is something I never heard about until now. I guess a couple years. But I was still drawn to this movie. So it's really weird. But then I find out about the situation with Close Encounters of the Third Kind movie. That, this is, you guys, this is so crazy, that the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind is based on a true story. That there was real footage, 600 feet footage, real footage of a UFO landing at Holloman Air Force Base, that they were going to give, Pentagon was going to give to a documentary. A guy was making a documentary. I got the names and stuff. It's actually all documented. This is actual truth. So for those of you who are saying, give me proof, you find it. Google it yourself. It's on some documentaries. I'm not giving you all that information because that's too much information to put on here.
Facts.
The guy was promised, it was for Nixon's campaign, and they were going to give him this footage to do a documentary and do some stuff about UFOs and all this stuff, but they withdrew it at the last minute because of Watergate. They had actual footage of UFO landing at Holloman Air Force Base, but they withdrew it because of the negative stuff going on with Nixon and Watergate. So instead, miraculously, and I know what they did, they sold it to the highest bidder, which is Steven Spielberg, and then a couple years later, Close Encounters of the Third Kind come out. Okay? And that's what they do. That's what Hollywood does. They sell this information. They got information. They got proof. They've got real life information on UFOs and all this stuff. So they just sell it to the highest bidder, and they make a movie of it and make us try to gaslight us, make us look like idiots, and pawn it off as it's science fiction and it's just a story. It's just a movie. Okay? And all of a sudden, UFO, this Close Encounters comes out. That wasn't a movie. That was facts. That actually happened. It's true. It actually happened. The Close Encounters of the Third Kind actually happened. It landed. They said, it specifically says in the scientists have come out and people said that what you see in Close Encounters of the Third Kind actually happened. It's almost exactly what happened at Holloman Air Force Base, what you see in that movie. And if I have to get you the episode on Agent Aliens where they all talk about, scientists get together and tell you they go, yeah, this is exactly what happened. They just basically gaslight us and tell us they're lying to us about everything. Okay, I talked to my friend. Now fast forward years and years later from the 1970s. Now it's the 1990s. They find the Stargate. A couple years later, the Stargate movie comes out. They sold it to the highest bidder. What really happened? Okay, what went down? And now we got the movie. Same situation. He said, same situation. They have the Stargate, multiple ones, and they're traveling all over the place. And then all of a sudden here we come out with We've got actual space galaxy. I don't know the names of these places, these people, but we've actually got a Star Trek kind of, confederation. We've got a confederation out there.
Space Force.
We've got stuff going on out there that we don't even know about. It's just ridiculous. Like, there are things going on out in our atmosphere and our space that we have no idea about, that they're hiding from us. And it's been going on since the 90s. Because they found a way to do all this. Just think about it. Since the 90s, they've been able to. They found what they found what they're looking for. They found the Stargate, and and look how fast everything's progressed from then till now. We've got all this other crazy stuff going on, UFOs, and they've released all this information. They're slowly releasing things and everything. So Stargate, the movie, is not just a movie, you guys. And if you watch that movie, you see that we were taken from it. It almost basically talks about how humans were seeded from another planet.
That part, they don't want to hear that part.
The truth. They're telling about where we came from. We came from another planet. We weren't just. It's like that movie is just touching on just a little bit more about our existence and what's really going on and what they're doing and what it's. You got to watch the movies. If you really want to know what's going on, watch the movies. So here we are. Just another bit of information about their time traveling through Stargates. And there's 12 of them. And that's how the UFOs and stuff are. You see them coming in and out of areas in the water and mountains and all kinds of stuff. They're all over the place. 12 of them. And it's in the book of Enoch. So that's why they took the book out. That's why they took a book out of the Bible, because they don't want us to know.
Makes
they don't
sense.
want us to know. So those of you who swear up and down the book of Enoch's evil, no, the book of Enoch is not evil. It's the people that they don't want us to know who, what, when, and what's really going on and who we are. That's all.
That's well said. I'm going to leave you guys on that note. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Smash that like button when you get a chance. Help me get to 10,000 subs. That's all I ask. I appreciate everyone. If you support the channel as well, I have some links in the description. Go check those out. That add value to your life, from AirTech EMF to business funding to everything else that you would need. I appreciate y'all. Peace, loves, and blessing. And remember, positivity over negativity always.